The story starts with Teju rushing into the lab to inform Senku, the main protagonist, that he wants to confess his feelings for Usura, his crush, which he has kept hidden for 5 years. Senku expresses disinterest in Teju's impulsive decision, but offers him a love potion to boost his confidence. However, Teju rejects the offer, refusing to rely on cheap tricks. As Teju leaves, the love potion accidentally explodes, and Senku reveals it was actually gasoline, as he was confident Teju wouldn't take it outside. Teju meets up with Yuzuru to confess his feelings, while the others make bets on the outcome of his proposal. Just as Teju finally overcomes his doubts, a ray of light interrupts him, petrifying anyone it touches and throwing the world into chaos. Only animals are spared. Teju realizes he is still conscious amidst the chaos and vows to remain sane until he can confess his feelings. Time passes, spanning days, decades, and centuries, until the world regresses into the Stone Age. One day, Teju suddenly breaks free from his petrified state and explores the stone world. He recalls the fond memories he shared with Usura and finds her still petrified near the camper tree. Teju confesses his feelings to her, and as he approaches her, he notices a message carved into the tree. It leads him to Senku, who has been waiting for him. Senku explains that it is now October 5th, 5738, and 3,700 years have passed since they were petrified. He reveals that he counted the seconds while petrified until he broke free. Senku takes Teju to his base, and together they begin inventing tools for survival in the stone world. The following day, they venture into a cave where Senku explains the reason behind their situation. They were the first to awaken, and it was related to the cave. Senku explains that the liquid dripping from the cave is nitric acid, which may be responsible for corroding their petrification. Senku has been conducting experiments with the liquid, but without success. They decide to make alcohol using wild grapes. Senku handles the intellectual aspects, while Teju does the manual labor. 3 weeks later, they successfully acquire alcohol and begin distilling it. However, Senku's clay pot is not suitable for the task, so they opt for a slower approach. After a year, they succeed in creating a mixture that they use to petrify a bird. Teju decides to revive Uziren next, but halfway through he realizes she would be revived naked. She attempts to take her petrified body back to their camp, but they encounter a chasing lion along the way. The lion continues to pursue them, so Teju hands Uziren's body to Senku in a self-sacrificing act. Senku disagrees with his plan, and they continue their escape. Teju then decides to use the revival fluid on a strong fighter named Shishio Tsukasa, hoping he can save them. Shishio Tsukasa breaks out of his petrification and defeats the lion with sheer strength. He offers to protect them from now on, and Teju is pleased to have a reliable comrade, although Senku has doubts about their newfound ally. At their base, they introduce themselves to each other, and Tsukasa volunteers to be the team's hunter. His exceptional hunting skills allow the team to enjoy better quality meat. Senku informs the group that they need calcium carbonate to advance further. He instructs Teju to gather seashells, which they will crush to obtain the carbonate. Tsukasa shares a childhood story with Senku, where he collected seashells to make a necklace for his sick sister. A man accused him of stealing the shells. He was beaten. Afterward, in the story, he smashes the head of a petrified person. He tells Senku that they should not revive the corrupt adults who would eventually ruin their free paradise. Senku stops him and declares his intention to revive every single person in the world. Senku realizes that Tsukasa is dangerous, so he plans to control him by keeping the secret of the revival fluid hidden. However, Teju interrupts and reveals that he has obtained a full pot of fluid from the cave. With no other choice, Senku informs Tsukasa about the cave. While Senku goes to the cave, he takes the opportunity to secretly mix the fluid, unnoticed by Tsukasa. They quickly pour the processed revival fluid on Yuzuriha, but she doesn't petrify immediately. Senku explains the scientific principles behind the fluid just before Yuzuriha breaks free from the rock. Tsukasa returns from his smashing spree and confronts the group, who now view him as a murderer. Teju tries to attack Tsukasa, but Senku intervenes, shooting an arrow between them. This disorients Tsukasa, who still manages to land a powerful hit on Teju. Tsukasa notes that Teju didn't actually attack him and reveals that he refuses to harm people regardless of the situation. Tsukasa is taken aback by these words and tests him by threatening to kill Yuzuriha. Teju defends her but collapses due to the injuries sustained from blocking Tsukasa's attack. Tsukasa decides not to fight further and leaves the group. Heading into the forest, Senku starts destroying their base and informs the group that they need to fake their departure in order to successfully create a weapon capable of stopping Tsukasa. They embark on a journey to find the raw materials needed for their weapon. Tsukasa arrives at the base and immediately understands Senku's intentions. The group reaches the mountain peak, where Senku informs them that they have arrived to obtain gunpowder. Meanwhile, Taiju and Usuria relax in a hot spring, and Taiju promises to continue their conversation from 3,700 years ago, once they have restored civilization. Senku has managed to acquire sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, the necessary materials for making gunpowder. They begin processing the materials together, but accidentally a spark ignites, causing an explosion. Taiju is shocked by the explosive power, and Senku reassures him that they are not going to war with Tsukasa. He explains his plan to use the gunpowder as leverage for a deal. During their conversation, they notice a smoke signal from the forest, indicating the presence of other people in the stone world. They decide to increase the explosion to send their own signal, but unfortunately, it reveals their location to Tsukasa. He quickly captures Usuria and uses her as a bargaining chip to obtain the secret of the revival fluid. In a sacrificial move, Usuria decides to play along. Senku knows that revealing the formula would result in his death, but he tells Tsukasa anyway. Tsukasa offers to spare Senku's life on the condition that he abandons science, but Senku refuses. He asks Tsukasa to make his death painless, and Tsukasa assures him that he will crush his cervical nerve in one go. Keiju rushes to Senku's side, but arrives too late. Tsukasa is cautious as he anticipates Taiju's potential anger. In an attempt to divert Tsukasa's attention away from Usuria, Teju lifts a large rock and throws it into the air. This planned action results in an explosion. While Tsukasa remains unharmed, Taiju and Yuzurel, along with Senku's body, manage to escape successfully. Teju tries various methods to revive Senku but fails. During this process, he recalls a childhood memory that leads him to realize that Senku would never sacrifice himself for anyone. Teju starts pondering for clues and remembers that Senku always cracked his neck. Upon examining Senku's body, they discover a petrified potion on his neck. They apply some of the revival fluid, known for healing petrified areas, hoping it will heal his neck. In his revived state, Senku relives memories from when he first woke up in the stone world and began building tools and surviving from scratch. Feeling exhausted, Senku decides to seek assistance and starts by unearthing Teja's body. He then investigates clues to reverse the petrification and deduces the presence of an external factor in his revival. He stumbles upon a cave filled with nitric acid and conducts experiments on Taiju, but the petrification doesn't break, so he began experimenting on birds and other humans. In the present, Teju and Yuzuri wake up to find Senku alive, and they express their excitement. Senku instructs them to infiltrate Tsukasa's camp as spies since Tsukasa believes he is dead. Senku reveals his plan to seek allies with the mysterious people who sent the smoke signal. Tsukasa encounters a woman who instantly attacks him. While he defends himself without difficulty, he realizes she poses a threat to his goals and topples a tree onto her. Senku arrives at the scene and constructs a pulley to free her from beneath the fallen log. She introduces herself as Kohaku and expresses her fondness for Senku, but he clarifies that he is not interested in relationships. This concludes the video. Please leave a comment if you want to see more of this series. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.